Jump in the Cadillac, girl, let's put some miles on it. Anything you want, just to put a smile on it. You deserve it, baby, you deserve it all. And I'm gonna give it to you. Gold jewelry shining so bright. Strawberry champagne on us. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Sex by the fire at night. Silk sheets and diamonds, all white. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like.
That's what I like. Hey guys, I really like that song. I like Bruno Mars. He's cool and fun. But hey, what's going on? We're in episode 3. Hope everybody is doing wonderful. Welcome to the month of May. The best month of the year for several reasons, but for me, a very biased reason. It's my birthday month, and it's springtime, and a lot of things just happen in May, and it's always a good time. You know, it's sunny outside, it really starts to get warmer, and we start to have consistent temperatures usually. This year, I'm not so sure. This week has been a little bit cold, in my opinion, but nevertheless, it is May, like I said, the best month of the year, and I'm here again with you guys to sit and chat and learn some things and talk about some new stuff. So we're just gonna go ahead and dive right on into the show with Spotlight. So because it's the month of May and there's a lot of things going on, there's a lot of things to spotlight. So the first thing I'm going to spotlight is all of the graduates who are graduating this year, whether you're graduating from kindergarten to getting your doctorate degree or postdoctorate, whatever the case may be, you're graduating this year and you're amazing because you made it through. And I personally know because I was a graduate last year, and it was just such a surreal moment in time to just sit and reflect on how fast the years went by and that I actually accomplished this goal of mine of getting a degree. So, congratulations to all the graduates who have already graduated, because some schools have graduated already. Those of you who are graduating this weekend, and those of you who are graduating in the weeks and month to come, because some people graduate in June. Can't leave those people out. But congratulations. I have to give a special shout out to my friend Kayla, who will be graduating on May 12th from Oakwood University. Yes, with her bachelor's degree. Go ahead, girl. I'm proud of you. Congratulations. You finally made it. Just let that load just drop off your shoulders and look toward the next goal. You got this. Proud of you. Alright, so next thing that's in the spotlight is, since there won't be an episode between now and Mother's Day. Wait, Mother's Day is next weekend. Yeah, so there won't be an episode between then. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. You guys rock. Mothers are amazing. Mothers do a lot of things that go unnoticed most of the time. So, happy Mother's Day. Especially happy Mother's Day to the new mothers. There are a lot of new mothers this year that I know personally, from my friends and family and things of that nature. So, congratulations on being a new mommy. That's so exciting. All of your babies are totes adorable. Yes, I said adorable. And the babies who aren't born yet, I'm sure they'll be adorable too. They're just gonna be the cutest little things. So again, congratulations and happy Mother's Day to you. Okay, before I continue, I do have to apologize for the way that I sound. I probably sound a hot mess. Like I said, this week, the weather-wise has been a little crazy, hot, cold, rainy. It's weird. So allergies and fighting not getting sick from this crazy weather. So excuse me, I'm congested and my throat is just a tad bit itchy. So bear with me. I'm going to do my best not to sound disgusting. So moving right along to interesting news. Some things that I found interesting this week and over the past few weeks actually are, first off, last week, Beyonce did something that I think is amazing, in my opinion, because she didn't really have to do this. And what she did is going to hold a lot of weight for the recipients of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what it is because, yeah. So on the anniversary of Lemonade, Beyonce released Formation Scholars. And I'm going to read exactly what that is to you and give you a little bit of information directly from Beyonce, so there's no confusion. But this is totally something that, if you're in college or you're going to college, that might be interesting and of, good news and importance to you. And for those people who know students who are going into the arts or want to go into the arts, this is something that you can tell them about if you have not heard or they have not heard already. Okay, so Beyonce. To add to the celebration of the 1-year anniversary of Lemonade, Beyonce Knowles Carter announces the establishment of Formation Scholars Awards for the 2017-2018 academic year to encourage and support young women who are unafraid to think outside the box and are bold, creative, conscious, and confident. 4 scholars will be awarded, 4 scholarships will be awarded, 1 per college, to female incoming, current, or graduate students pursuing studies in creative arts, music, literature, or African American studies. The schools selected for participation are Berklee College of Music, Howard University, Parsons School of Design, and Spelman College. All details and application deadlines are available directly from the colleges. So that is what this award and scholarship is all about. I think it's great. A great opportunity, especially for women in the arts and women of color in the arts. There are 2 very popular HBCUs on this list, as well as 2 very popular design and art schools on this list. So there's a great balance, and it doesn't limit to any race, color, or creed. It is just for women who are in this field, and I just think it's a great opportunity. So don't count yourself out. I would take advantage because you never know if you are the one to be selected. Alright, the next thing that is in interesting news. So, I'm sure by now everyone has heard of Shea Moisture's little incident that they had, I think about 2 weeks ago? Either last week or 2 weeks ago. Sorry, my dates are just all over the place because time doesn't exist to me right now. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know what Shea Moisture is a hair product brand that is particularly designed for people of color, more importantly, black people, because of our unique hair and the unique oils and just essential things that we need for our hair, so our hair is always popping. So that's what Shea Moisture is, and Shea Moisture has been around for years. Like, just years. It's a big brand. A lot of people have used them over the years. Myself personally have used their products. They're most popularly known right now in this time frame and generation for, the Shea Moisture cream that makes your coils popping, and everybody's using it, especially all the black boys, with their fros, their fro and their fade that they got going on right now. They're using Shea Moisture. Yeah, so that's Shea Moisture. I'm not sure if you can see the commercial that they put out anymore. It might have been taken down from everywhere, but I'm sure if you dig, you should be able to find it somewhere. Because we all know that once something is on the internet, it doesn't ever go away. But that's another story. So basically, in a nutshell, Shea Moisture had this commercial where they were promoting, hair journeys and loving the hair that you were giving, your natural curls and your natural hair. Well, the problem with that is, like I said, Shea Moisture has branded themselves as a company and a brand for POCs. Well, in this commercial, I only saw one person of color, and that person of color was shown for maybe about 45 seconds. So I didn't really feel like it was really a commercial including people of color. But that's just my opinion. So this commercial had a woman talking about her hair journey and how she used to hate her hair and did all these different things to change it. One woman had red hair. She was born a redhead, and how she was talking about how she used to bleach her hair because she was so embarrassed by it. And this other woman was talking about how her hair was just so straight and she always wanted to get nice curls and waves. Yeah. So the problem that everybody had with this commercial is that, again, no person of color was represented in this commercial. And because Shea Moisture is a brand that has branded themselves for people of color, this commercial should have had people of color in the commercial talking about their hair and their hair journey and things of that nature, and that was not the case. So people were pissed. And they let, Shea Moisture have it, of course. The internet never stops. So it was kind of shocking that Shea Moisture would do something like this and not taking consideration, Pepsi's incident of just foolery. So yeah, that was interesting news. I found that very odd that Shea Moisture would do that. So for those of you who have dumped Shea Moisture to the curb because of this, as many people have dumped Pepsi to the curb because of this, I personally don't drink soda, but if I did, it wouldn't be Pepsi. And I feel like that for Shea Moisture. I have beautiful, luscious locks, and I use all natural and organic products in my hair. I think I have one Shea Moisture product right now, and I think I bought it only because it smelled good. So, and it kind of, lays my edges down a little bit. So, without having gel. But that's about it. Shea Moisture is not really my go-to. Never really was my go-to product. So, for those of you who have dumped Shea Moisture to the side, I suggest that you hit up some black beauty blogs and things and find a different product for you. If you need a jump start, I know that BET, of course, has an article listing black-owned beauty products and hair care products on their website for you to check out. I think there's about 15 or 20 of them, so there's a good starting list for you to look at. Alright, moving on from that drama, we have new drama. Now, I don't usually talk about politics on my show, and I probably really won't ever talk about politics on my show unless I really feel the need to, because I just don't. There's too much going on, and it causes too much stress, and people fight, and ain't nobody got time for that. But I do have to say that the president of these United States and the Republicans have, tried for the second time to repeal and replace Obamacare. And well, as of yesterday, May 4th, that action has moved on up to its next step. It is now in the Senate. Now, I haven't really been following this news story totally closely, because I have a life and I can't really keep on top of everything political with everything going on with me. But that's me personally. So if there's any updated news from this point on, as of Friday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, at 7 p.m., I have not looked. So forgive me if this is just a tad bit outdated, but that's not the point. The interesting news is that repeal and replace Obamacare is in full effect, and my advice to all of you, especially my peers, do your research. Please do not sit in front of the TV and listen to what these people are spewing at you, because not everything you hear is going to be true, and we know that, so we need to sit and do our own research and do our own compare and contrast and formulate our own opinions behind this political act that is going on right now. A lot of us are aware because we've been following it for the past 7 years. So it's time to do research, and it's time to really look at what the heck has been presented. I do know one thing as of right now, and as of my knowledge, millennials, you are safe to be under the coverage of your parents until you're 26. Still, that could change. No one knows. So as of right now, what I've read, we're good. That's a good thing. If you're 25, yeah, you might want to get started on looking for some insurance, because it's hard out here. But yeah, so I'm happy about that because, sis, I cannot stress about some health insurance. I need to be able to go to the doctor when I need to go to the doctor. So, like I said, do your research, formulate your own opinions based on the research that you have done, not based on the information that you watched on TV alone. Not saying that all the information on the news is inaccurate or skewed, but just do some research for yourself. Okay? Alright, so that's all of the interesting news that I have for this episode. So now it's time for us to get into our topic for this episode. This episode is all about stress, anxiety, and self-care. This is the time of the year where everybody is running around with their heads cut off and are losing their mind and don't know what they're doing. I.e. me. I'm stressed. Not even gonna say that I'm not stressed and act like I got it all together, because I don't. I'm just as stressed as the next person, probably a tad bit more. But this episode is dedicated to this particular topic because as Americans especially, we have a problem with managing our stress. Now, stress is not all bad, but the wrong kinds of stress and too much of the wrong kind of stress is not good. And it can ultimately end up in serious health issues. It's not even just, a mental state or just a thing that happens, somewhere in the atmosphere. It's a real problem that your body experiences every time you experience stress, whether it's good or bad. So we have to do a better job with managing our stress. Me, personally, I really have to do a better job with managing my stress. So this episode is going to be about stress, a little bit about anxiety. I'm just going to touch on that because a lot of times people experience stress and anxiety at the same time, or they confuse being overly stressed with having some type of anxiety or panic attack, and that is not necessarily true. So I'm just going to kind of give concrete definitions of what stress and anxiety are so that there's no confusion and we can know what we're going through when we're going through it. And then I'm going to give some self-care tips that I personally use and some self-care tips that I've found online and that other people use, so that you have a plethora of options so you don't feel like you have to just stick with one thing. So yeah, I'm going to start off with basic definition of stress and anxiety. Okay, before I begin, I do have to add that this segment and topic is mostly catered towards students, because I'm a student and I can relate to that most closely, than having some professional stresses, although I am starting to experience kind of professional stress with my field of work in mental health counseling and how important self-care is in this particular field that I am in. But this is for the students. So students, it's the time of the year where it's finals. For those of you who have graduated, you're good. You don't have to worry about this. But you were stressed not too long ago. But for the rest of us who are not graduating and school is just quite not over yet, for those of us who live a little bit up north and on the East Coast, we have a while to go, kind of closer to the end of May. Some of us will be in school till June. Yeah, so if we're not completely stressed right now, it might be coming. And so we want to kind of avoid being too stressed. So the definition that I have for stress is coming from Google. Thank you, Google. So stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. So it is also, stress is the body's reaction to a challenge. Though stress is often perceived as bad, it can actually be good in some respects. The right kind of stress can sharpen the mind and reflexes. It might be able to help the body perform better or help you escape a dangerous situation. Stress produces a physiological reaction in your body. Hormones are released, which result in physical manifestations of stress. These can include slowed digestion, shaking, tunnel vision, accelerated breathing and heart rate, dilation of pupils, and flushed skin. This process is often referred to as the fight or flight response. That is just what it sounds like. Our bodies are poised to either run away from the stressor or stick around and fight against it. So that is a complete definition and detailed definition of what stress is, what that means for you and your body. Like I said, I got this information from Google as well as psychology notes from undergrad. Yes, I took notes. And from a website called learnpsychology.org. So you can look it up. They have a whole web page and website catered towards students and with stress and anxiety. Sorry, I can't talk today. I don't know what's going on. They have a student stress and anxiety guide where it tells you about stress, gives you symptoms, has you take a quiz, and all this great stuff. So I encourage you to go on learnpsychology.org and take a look at that website. So now let's just give a definition of anxiety and then we'll head on back over to stress. I just want people to know what anxiety is, so that if they do feel like they're experiencing anxiety, you will know what it is and know what to do. So, anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. At its core, anxiety is simply the body's reaction to stressful, dangerous, or unfamiliar situations. It's the sense of uneasiness, again, distress, or dread you feel before a significant event. For example, worrying about a job interview or stressing over a test is healthy, normal anxiety. This kind of anxiety encourages us to properly prepare for situations we're uneasy about and helps us stay alert and aware. However, for those suffering from an anxiety disorder, anxiety feels far from normal. It can be completely debilitating. Anxiety disorders keep people from sleeping, concentrating, talking to others, or even leaving their homes. Anxiety that may need treatment is often irrational, overwhelming, and disproportionate to the situation. It makes sufferers feel as though they have no control over their feelings, and it can involve serious physical symptoms like headaches, nausea, or trembling. When normal anxiety becomes irrational and begins to recur and interfere with daily life, it's classified as a disorder. So, for that definition of anxiety, it's pretty clear cut and dry, in my opinion. For people, if you feel that you're suffering from anxiety after hearing this definition, please don't be afraid to reach out to someone in the health profession, whether it be your primary care doctor or a counselor, a psychiatrist, or a therapist, anyone that has knowledge of this disorder can help you. Please don't feel like you're alone and that this is just completely not a thing. It is a thing, and it is okay. There is help out there for you, and I definitely encourage you to do that. I'm a part of the field that deals with clients who have anxiety disorders as well as other disorders, and a lot of times I hear that they thought that this was something that wasn't normal, but they were too afraid to seek help about it. So please don't be afraid to do that. It is important for your overall health. We don't want you to experience any type of headaches, nausea, and trembling if it can be prevented. So yes. Alright, so now back to stress. Student stress and anxiety. So there are 3 different types of stress. I'm going to tell you what they are. So the first type of stress is acute stress. Acute stress is the most common form of stress and is the result of recent or anticipated stressors. Acute stress can be both positive and negative. For an example, the excitement before a fun event is a type of positive acute stress. Getting into a car accident is negative acute stress. As long as the acute stress doesn't last for an extended period of time or occur too frequently, there is nothing wrong with suffering from acute stress. It happens to all of us, and it phases with time. So, if you have everyday stressors, they're just normal things, like it says in the example. You're getting excited about some fun thing you have to do. Me personally, I get excited about eating. I love food. I'm a foodie. Yeah, it's a problem, but it's also not a problem. But yeah, I get excited about eating. And so that could be a form of stress for me, of acute stress. Negative acute stress? Negative acute stress for me is I get, this feeling of just irritation when I have to write a paper. I hate papers. That's a negative acute stress for me. It's not as traumatizing as a car accident, of course, but sitting down to a blank computer screen is traumatizing to me as a student. So that is acute stress. The second form of stress is episodic acute stress. And episodic acute stress is acute stress that occurs frequently. This is the kind of stress that continuously pops up, sometimes in a pattern. It is accompanied by worry and angst about things that are happening to you or around you. You might be especially prone to this if you have a type A personality. Type A personalities have a sense of urgency and a need to get things done that might actually become overwhelming. Don't overwhelm yourself. Episodic acute stress is a reoccurring type of stress happening over and over. I love this example that they use for type A personality. I know quite a few type A personality people in my life, and I've seen them at work, and it's fascinating, but it's like, okay, you're stressing yourself out, and I need you to calm down. As a student, they're like, yes, be organized. Have a sense of urgency about your schoolwork and things that you need to do. That's all good, great, and dandy. But let's be realistic. We all have lots and lots of schoolwork. Come on, like, they load us down with work. So to be constantly overwhelmed and have a sense of urgency about the things that we have to do is just too much. It's unrealistic and could lead to episodic acute stress. We don't need to be stressed like this over and over and over again. It's unnecessary. It's not needed. Don't do this. Don't stress yourself to the point that you are overwhelmed about schoolwork. Trust me, it's never that serious. And it also just comes with time management. I'm okay with that. I've learned how to be better with that through time. The thing that saved me, a planner. I said I would never plan my day. I would never plan my week. I used to hate doing that in elementary school and high school, where we used to have a planner and like your parents had to sign it. I don't know if anybody else experienced this, but my parent had to sign my planner. My sister had to sign my planner every day to see that I had homework, that I wrote down my homework, and then that I did it. It was insanity to me, but here I am using the planner. So there's a method to the madness that happens to us as children. Things that we think are stupid, I am clearly finding out that they're not necessarily stupid when you get older. So time management, planning out your day, your week, your month, so that you know what's coming and you know how to use your time wisely. Alright, so the next and last form of stress is chronic acute stress. Chronic acute stress can be thought of as never-ending stress that relentlessly wears away at you. If you don't see an end in sight, if you are facing something that has no way out, then you are likely to begin suffering from chronic stress. This type of stress eventually begins to affect your health and can lead to heart problems, strokes, or even cancer, among other issues. Chronic stress definitely requires reaching out for help. Okay, so clearly this is the worst form of stress. This is the stress that we don't ever want to touch. We don't ever want to get to this point where we feel like there's no way out of a situation that we're in. As students, we get there. The end of the semester, there's finals, and you have a gajillion things to do. I remember my senior year, the last semester, spring semester, I I believe I had 2 finals, like actual finals tests I had to take. Like 6 papers. Ridiculous. I was taking like 7 classes. 6 papers and like 3 presentations. Yeah. And a poster board presentation. Oh, I was overwhelmed, and at one point I did feel like the walls are falling in on me, and there was no way out of the situation. And I noticed it in my health almost immediately, actually, because it was ongoing and reoccurring all day, every day. So my body reacted to it very quickly. And I mean, I didn't have a stroke or develop cancer or anything like that, but I noticed that, I was irritated and restless and couldn't really focus on the things that I needed to do, and I was extremely tired, like beyond exhausted. It was like I would sleep, but I would wake up feeling more exhausted and tired than I did before I went to sleep, because I was so stressed and I was in this stage, and I had to find a way to get out of it fairly quickly. So we don't want to get to chronic acute stress, and if we do get there, we got to get out of there really quick, because if you stay in a chronic acute stress too long, it says it in the definition, it's chronic. It doesn't go away. It's there all the time. Having that too long will lead to the health problems that it mentioned, like heart problems, stroke, and cancer. We don't want that at all. So some symptoms and signs that you can look for, as in terms of your physical self and your emotional self, and in your behaviors and with your mind and the way that you're thinking. Here are some things that you can look for to monitor how stressed you are and if the stress is good or bad. So some physical symptoms are, you could have chest pain with or without tachycardia, headaches, nausea, muscle aches, trouble sleeping, heartburn, indigestion, fatigue. Fatigue. That is one that you don't want to be in. Unusual changes in weight. I have known people who have been so stressed that they have literally lost 10 pounds in less than 2 weeks. It's crazy sounding, but it does happen. Females, you could have irregular or missed periods. Be mindful of that. A lot of times we panic because of irregular or missed periods, or some of us, don't even notice when we're stressed. We don't notice the small things about our bodies. So that's just something that you should pay attention to. Emotional symptoms. A lot of times we do not take emotional symptoms into consideration when we think about stress, and that is something that needs to change. Emotionally, you can feel less than normal patience. So like I was saying before, I was very agitated and irritable. I didn't have patience for anybody that wasn't trying to tell me anything that I felt was important. Feelings of sadness or depression. Now, depression is another bigger issue. But if you're feeling unusually sad, if you're not a sad person, you're usually a happy, bubbly person, or even if you're not always happy and bubbly, but you feel like you're just sad, and it's not regular kind of sad that you feel and you can't get out of that, that is an emotional symptom of stress. Irritability is on here as an emotional symptom. Sense of isolation. If you feel like you're being isolated by your peers, or you have isolated yourself, that is an emotional symptom, and you should explore why you have this sense of isolation. Also, a reduced or eliminated desire for activities once enjoyed or regularly done. So as students, again, this is another clear-cut way where you can kind of determine, if you're too stressed, if your stress level is in an unhealthy state. Not enjoying things that you used to do. You used to hang out with your friends all the time in the caf. Not just to eat, but just to sit and talk, and you don't like doing that anymore. You have now isolated yourself because you don't like that anymore, but you're actually causing more stress for yourself because no one likes to feel isolated. No one likes to be isolated all the time. All right, moving along. Cognitive symptoms. This is the things that go on in your brain, your mind, the way that you're thinking. So, impaired concentration. Yeah, when you're too stressed and you sit there and you're trying to study for a test and you find that you can't concentrate, yeah, that's a symptom that you're too stressed. Trouble remembering things such as homework assignments or deadlines. Now, I used to pride myself on having great memory. Well, the memory really doesn't matter when you have a billion things to do every single day. This is where my planner has really helped my life out. Not only with time management, but just remembering small things like, hey, Dara, do your homework. Don't just do this paper that's supposed to be 15 pages that's due 2 weeks from now, but you have homework due tomorrow, at 9 a.m. that you haven't touched. So if you're having trouble remembering things that might have come easier to you to remember, then that is a cognitive symptom as well. And if you're having anxious thoughts or feelings or chronic worrying, those are also cognitive symptoms of stress. And finally, behavioral symptoms. These are symptoms that are physically noticeable by either you or your peers. Mostly, they'll probably be noticed by your peers. So these are changes in eating habits. Maybe you're not eating as often as you were. Maybe you're eating 2 meals a day instead of 3. Or maybe you're eating too much. Maybe you're snacking all the time and not eating full, healthy, well-balanced meals. Maybe you're eating chips every 20 minutes. I don't know. But those are changes in eating habits. Pacing. Sometimes I pace to think, but if you're like pacing back and forth and you can't concentrate and you find yourself pacing, you have no idea why you're pacing, you're stressed. Nail biting. Yes, I know there are people that bite their nails on a regular basis. It's normal to them. This is nail biting for people who don't usually bite their nails. Another thing is changes in sleeping habits. Again, along with symptoms of feeling fatigued and tired and just having trouble sleeping. When you're stressed, you either are losing lots of sleep or you're sleeping too much and your body is trying to find a well balance there. And because you're stressed, it doesn't really know if it needs more sleep or less sleep. You kind of like put your body out of whack. Your circadian rhythm is like going crazy. So yeah, these are all symptoms of stress. Like I said before, if you want to look at these in concrete words and for yourself, these symptoms are broken down into 4 sections on learnpsychology.org for you to look at and contemplate and reflect on. All right, so I'm going to give some more statistics and some more reasons why students are stressed. And then I'm going to give you some self-care tips on how to eliminate and reduce stress. So, stressed students. College stress by the numbers. 20% of college students say they feel stressed most of the time. That is way true. A lot of times when people ask me, hey, Dara, how are you? I go, tired. And if tired is not my first reaction, I go, stress. Or sometimes they come together, tired and stressed. Tired and stressed, stressed and tired. That's me. That sums me up in a nutshell, and that's all that really you need to know about me right now. 34% of students report feeling depressed at least at one point within their time throughout college. Again, these feelings of depression come from emotional symptoms of being stressed. Now, of course, feeling depressed because you're stressed is not the only reason why people feel depressed. People feel depressed for many, many other reasons and many other factors of things that happen in their lives, things that happen to them in their past. That's different. We're just talking about depression caused by stress. And 80% of college students say they sometimes or often feel stress. So we went from 20% of students saying that they feel stressed most of the time to 80% of students saying that they sometimes or often feel stress. That's a big difference. And that is not a good number for students to be stressed out in this manner. Causes of stress for college students are aplenty. Some examples are living away from home. A lot of times when we go to college, we're living away from home for the first time ever, and it causes a lot of stress and anxiety. I know when I first came to college up here in New York, I was good at first, and then, the days went by, and school started, and I had homework, and I was working. I was like, yeah, there's nobody telling me, hey, you should eat. Nobody's telling me, hey, you should go to bed, or go to bed, do the dishes, do this, that, and the third. And then you just miss being at home. It's a new environment. You're around new people, and that could cause you some stress. It definitely caused me a little stress that I had to figure out how to control. What did I do to calm myself and fix that stress that I had from living away from home for the first time? I called my sister every day, and we actually have developed this system that still happens now, where I talk to her every day. If I'm not talking to her verbally, we're talking through text, email, any form of communication. We're talking every day. If I don't talk to her every day, it might be every other day, but it never gets to 2 full days without me talking to her. And that is our system, and it has worked for us, and it has definitely eliminated that stress that I had from living away from home. Another stress that students have in college is academic demands and test anxiety. As if high school wasn't enough and that stupid SAT and ACT wasn't stressful enough. The demand of keeping up academically in college, it's a big step. These are big shoes to fill. It can be extremely hard for some people to adjust to college life and adjust to the rigorous workload and the demands that professors give. There's so much reading. There might be less reading depending on which field that you're in, but it's definitely a lot more reading than high school. And me, I was a psych major, so I felt like it was like quadruple reading, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna read 3 chapters over 2 days along with the other classes that I have. That's too much. So academic demands and test anxiety is a factor of stress for college students, and it's definitely a stress of high school students as well, especially seniors. You're trying to do the best that you can so that you can get into college and you can get into a good school and you can get some money so that you're not in super debt for the rest of your life. So that definitely is a factor for high school students as well as any type of student. Excelling academically is hard, and if we don't manage how we're studying and the workload that we have, it can become very overwhelming. So some things that you can do as a student to eliminate these stressful situations: you can study as much as you can. So a method that I developed in college, should have developed it in high school, but I waited till college to do this. Instead of waiting a week or a few days before a test, I would study a little bit every day. I wasn't a big note taker in class. I'm still not a big note taker. But I do read the textbook, and I do read to understand. So when I read in the textbook, I might take some notes myself or highlight and jot notes in the margins of the textbook if I bought it, of course, to help me study and help me to remember and understand things. So just a little bit every night when you're doing your homework, when you're doing your readings, study, read, and do your homework to understand the material. And then when it's time for a test, you're reviewing and not learning this stuff for the first time, because that's when you cause yourself stress. Try to mimic testing conditions. Now, I know this is hard to do in college. A little bit easier to do in high school because you can go sit in a classroom and study most of the time in a place where you're going to have your test. This has been proven psychologically. Sorry, I really can't talk today. That where you learn your information is the place that you should study. So when you're learning information for the first time, you should study where in the same exact place where you learned it. This is where this madness came in, where students in high school had assigned seats. You didn't just have assigned seats so that the teacher could control your behavior and your talkativeness. It's actually proven that if you sit in the same place in every class, the material that you're learning and you're studying will come back to you. And it'll be easier for you to recall. So when you're sitting in that same classroom, in that same seat, you will have a better memory. With just looking around the room and just being in that space, you are better able to recall information that you learned and the things that you have studied. Also, you should study the same way each time. So the first time you sit down and study and you review the material, if you have the music on, you should have the music on the second time you do it, and when you recall, because your brain is trying to recreate the same conditions, just like it does when you're in the classroom. So try to mimic testing conditions that could help you do that. Find ways to calm yourself down. What does that mean? Now, you might not be all riled up, angry, or whatever, but when you get stressed, if you feel the physical changes in your body, like you're feeling hot, your heart is pounding, find ways to help you calm down. Does squeezing a stress ball help you calm down? I definitely have a stress ball. When I get stressed, I don't squeeze the ball. It doesn't do anything for me. I throw the ball at the wall. And it also helps me think and figure out why the heck I'm stressed. Another thing that calms me down is listening to music. I'm a huge music lover. So I often listen to music while I'm doing my homework or studying. That calms me, that keeps me calm. It keeps me from getting stressed out about what I'm studying, because sometimes when I'm studying I don't understand what's going on, what I'm reading. That stresses me out. And it frustrates me. So listening to music while I'm doing these things helps me to be calm. Another example for you could be taking deep breaths. Deep breathing exercises work wonders. It helps you refocus and center your body and your mind together. Another thing that you can do to reduce your stress is watch your diet. Now, I didn't know this until recently, that your diet really does play a big role in how your body reacts to stress. So eating well and eating properly is important. So, hey college kids, we love caffeine. Oh yes, we do. And it doesn't have to come in the form of coffee. We like to drink soda and high caffeinated juices and teas. We are caffeine junkies. Too much caffeine is not good. You know when you have too much caffeine, because when you stop drinking the caffeine, your body does weird twitches. Like, I had an experience where I stopped having vanilla chais that, I was like, it's tea, it doesn't have caffeine in it. Psych. I stopped drinking those vanilla chais from Starbucks for a week. Day 2, my eye was twitching. I would get these random bursts of twitchings of my eyes, each eye. And then my hand was shaking. Ridiculous. So we have to try. I'm not going to say that, we have to eat, properly. Because let's be realistic. We're in college. We poor. We don't always have a lot of money. So we like to eat pizza at 12 o'clock at night because we up anyway. Or instead of eating real food, we eat a bag of chips for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we have to try our very best to eat properly and eat the good stuff, like fruits and veggies and good kinds of meats, and cook them well. So that is another way. Also, again, with the sleeping thing, we have a problem with sleeping on time and on a regular schedule. Me personally, I'm a night person, which has been the bane of my existence, because now I have to get up early. Early to me is 7 o'clock. That's early. 7 o'clock is too early for me, especially when I don't go to bed till after midnight. If I go to bed at midnight or before midnight, that's a great accomplishment for me. So we have to get enough sleep. The website says research is clear that not getting enough sleep can impair one's memory and reasoning abilities. The more clear-headed you are, the less anxious you will feel. Well, alrighty then. That is self-explanatory. Work on sleeping more. Me, Dara Ferguson, needs to work on sleeping more because I'm terrible at that. And finally, exercising regularly. Ooh, I'm just slapping myself in the face with this. I don't exercise regularly, so I'm not going to sit here and preach to y'all about exercising because I don't do that. I'm working on it. It's a struggle, especially when you have a busy schedule. You're not just going to classes, you're going to class, you're going to club meetings, you're going to work, you're going to internships, you're trying to just network and have a social life. There's a lot of things going on. Oh yeah, and then do your homework. So it's like, where do you fit, exercising at? New Yorkers have a huge advantage, I believe, because you kind of have to walk everywhere. You have to walk to get to the train, get to the bus, get to wherever else you have to go. But at some point, your body gets used to the exercise and it doesn't do anything for you. So you have to take it up a notch. So exercise regularly. That will definitely help you, me, and the world with being less stressed. Okay. Let's get into some self-care things. So let's define what self-care is. So self-care is literally what it says, the caring of self. There's no other way to really explain it. It's you're caring for yourself, but this comes without medical or other professional means. This is all you all you, all you. You have to motivate yourself, initiate the self-care, and take pride and make this become important to you. Now, what self-care does is it gives you outlets, kind of like the ones we spoke about, to reduce stress and anxiety and just feeling overwhelmed. So, doing things that you like to do, like before, things that calm you down, things that keep you in good headspaces. And when I say good headspace, I mean things that keep you happy and well. Like, you're not stressed, you're not overwhelmed, you don't feel tired, you're not fatigued, you're not yelling at people for no reason. Your mind is working as it should be for you. You know, you have clear thinking, you're not having memory issues, things of that nature. That's what I mean when I say good headspace. So that's what self-care is. Self-care is caring about you. And it could be anything you want. It could literally, whatever the things that you like to do, that can become self-care for you. So some self-care things that I do, like I said before, I like music. So not only do I like listening to music, little secret, I do sing. Not really for public like I used to when I was at home in Maryland. But I do sing, and I do enjoy singing. So I sing a lot in my house. When I'm tired or I'm just overwhelmed and I don't feel like doing anything involving school, work, or anything in between, I would blast the music in my house and just sing. Sing as loud as I want to and be as happy and off key or on key as I truly desire, because it lets me forget about all the things that I have to do in that moment and just be free and let go and be happy. Just for that moment. And it relaxes me so that when I'm ready to go back to my responsibilities, I can go back free with the load kind of lifted off me, and I can go back fresh with a good headspace to my responsibilities. That's one thing that I do. The second thing that I do as self-care routine is hanging out with my friends. I learned this a lot throughout my 4 years of undergrad, that when I'm hanging around people, it makes me feel good. A lot of times when people hang around their friends and things, you feel good. If you're hanging around your friends and you don't feel good, there's a problem. But that's a different story, so I digress. So hanging around my friends, and even if we're just sitting down having conversation, eating, like I said, I love to eat. I'll get there. I love hanging out with my friends. There's lots of things that we discover to do in the city that we probably would have never discovered if we weren't stressed out. I think my friends and I do this now where we're like, we don't want to do anything involving any type of responsibility. So we're just like, yeah, we're just going to walk around the city and see what we can find. And yeah, we're going to have a grand time. And we're going to eat something along the way. My CFP friends, my crew, you know what I'm talking about. Because we do have a great time. And a lot of times we just end up in random places and we discover new things all the time. And we're always eating. That is another thing that is a part of my self-care routine. I like to eat. Now, sometimes it can get out of hand and I start to stress eat. Then I have to watch myself. But I enjoy food. I enjoy good food. So I will personally, if I can't go with my friends, I can't find a friend to go out with me to eat, I will take my little self to go to a nice restaurant, cafe, bar, whatever, and eat by myself. And I always thought that was weird, people that do that. Now I'm like, I don't care. This is for me. This is not involving anyone else. This is for my sanity. And I have a grand old time, me and my plate. So that's another thing that I do. I also love movies. So I will take myself to see a movie in the middle of the day by myself, without my friends, with no problem at all. And I have a good old time, and it just relaxes me. And all these things take my mind off of the responsibilities that I have in front of me, just for a time long enough that I can regain all sanity and be able to tackle things in an appropriate and effective manner. So yes, other self-care things that people do. People journal. They do journaling, and journaling could be anything. It could be journaling about your day. It could be writing stories, poetry. People do use poetry as an outlet to express themselves, not only as an art, but to relieve stress. So there's that option. People go out to particular events that they enjoy. I know people that go to plays. If you love Broadway, that's a great self-care thing. That's kind of like going to the movies, but better sometimes. So if you like Broadway, you like shows, you like people acting and live singing and things like that, go to a show. That includes concerts or comedy shows. Go out, have fun, laugh. Laughing is a self-care tip on its own. If you're stressed out, you're overwhelmed, you're sad, you're depressed, whatever the case may be, and you don't feel good, laugh. It will change your entire atmosphere and your entire headspace. It will make you feel good almost immediately. So laughing helps. I love to watch Kevin Hart and Richard Pryor, so I'll put it on in the background and might do something that's not so taxing on myself, my brain, like folding laundry, which I hate doing. But in order for me to feel good and be able to get back to my responsibilities, I do that, and I'll listen to some Kevin Hart or Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy, like those comedians, to laugh. Or I'll watch a funny movie that I like just to laugh. It's a good thing to do. Some other self-care tips are going to the park or going out in nature. If you are a nature lover and you like to be outside, go for a walk. Go sit in the park for a few hours. And, I don't know, people watch. Watch the clouds. Relax. Just lay in the grass. It's really relaxing. I did that last weekend. And it was just great. I didn't know I needed it until I was there doing it. That is another self-care tip. Also, you could create a bucket list. I have a friend who created a bucket list, and that somehow reduced their stress. And I guess it was just thinking about the future and the good things that you want out of your future and the things that you want to do, you want to accomplish, and you want to experience. So that was a happy thing for her to do. So you can create lists of things that you want to do, things that you want to accomplish, that will make you happy and that will make you a better person. So create a bucket list. That would be fun. Treat yourself. Now, you could take treat yourself however you want it to mean, but treat yourself. If there's something that you don't do often because it might be expensive or you might think it's excessive, well, sometimes there's a cause for that. Personally, I like to shop, but I don't like to shop. My problem is I have very expensive taste. So when I complete something that has taken me a while or that, required so much energy, I treat myself. If it stressed me out and I completed that thing, I treat myself. I will buy something that I wanted to buy that I overlooked or I passed up because it was too expensive. Well, if I have the money and it's not going to break me down and I'm not going to be struggling to pay my bills, then I will go treat myself and have that thing. Because we all know that when you buy something new, no matter how expensive it is, it's new. And you're just excited about that new thing. So treat yourself. Whatever that means to you, do that thing. That's a part of self-care because that will make you happy. And a last thing that I have seen and have heard of people doing, which is a little weird to me, but it's up for your own judgment. You can either get a pet or go play with pets. Now, getting a pet might be a little too extreme for some people because having a pet is a responsibility by itself, and that might cause you more stress. So the other alternative is to go hang out with a pet for a day or for a couple of hours. One thing that my undergrad PACE used to do was have puppies in the library. I'm not a really big pet fan, pet lover. I don't have a problem with pets, but, animal lover, Dara is not. I tolerate them. I like them. They're cute. But I have grown out of that animal lover phase of my life. But during finals week, they brought in puppies. And they were just so cute and just cuddly and fluffy. And you could just play with them. And they would just look at you. And they would like nibble on your fingers and lick you and all kinds of crazy things. And it's fun. And you don't even realize that you're having so much fun and that you're releasing so much by just playing with a dog. Like, I didn't realize how much I needed that until I did it. And I felt great after that. So those are my self-care tips for you. Things that I've done, things that I've heard. And also, create your own self-care. Self-care is all about doing what relaxes you, what makes you happy, what keeps you calm. So whatever that is, if I didn't mention it, that doesn't mean you can't do it. So feel free to create your own. And that is the end of episode 3. Thank you guys so much for listening. I do greatly appreciate it again. I ask that you always like, comment, share. Let people know about this podcast. Let me know how you feel about it. What things that you think might be helpful for me to add or change, or things I should take out or just do differently. Let me know. I'm open to feedback. I can take it. No problem. Announcements. Do I have announcements? No, I don't have announcements. I do. I do. So, again, episodes of the podcast come out every first and third Sunday of every month. And for the summer, I'm doing a special. So I am going to be interviewing artists on the show. And it'll be all different kinds of artists for the months of June and July. Just talking to them about what they do and how they have honed in on their gift and their talent, and the obstacles that they have faced, some that they still have faced, how they have succeeded and overcome certain things. So yeah, I'm going to be talking to artists this summer, so be on the lookout and prepared for those episodes. If you have an artist, if you are an artist, or you know an artist that wants exposure or likes to talk about the things that they're done and the things that they're doing and wants to impart knowledge to other people, have them hit me up. You can reach out to me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook now. Facebook page is Gwen's Daughter the Podcast, just like Instagram. On Instagram at Gwen's Daughter the Podcast. Send me a message on Facebook. Send me a DM on Instagram. Or you can email me at gwensdaughter86@gmail.com. Also, you can send people who you think should be in the spotlight segment of the show. You can send those people their names and their accomplishments to the Gmail account. Again, Gwen's daughter 86 at gmail.com. You can send those people to me and I'll give them a shout out on the show. You can also send news things to me, things that you found interesting. If I find it interesting to me too, I'll talk about it on the show. So I am all about feedback from you, the listener, on what you want to hear, what do you want to do, what do you know. I love gaining new knowledge, so I'm always open to that. And that's it. That's all the announcements I have for this week. Thanks again, guys, for listening. Do enjoy the rest of this beautiful Cinco de Mayo. And Mother's Day is coming up. Please, guys, if your mother is still with you, take her to do something. Love her. Give her the things that she loves. If she doesn't want to leave the house, you better be in her house, just in her presence, loving on her, and telling her how much you appreciate her. And even if your mother is not living like mine, if you have mother figures in your life, people who you, women who you look up to, tell them you love them, appreciate them as well on Mother's Day. And again, congratulations to all the graduates. You've worked so hard. I'm so very proud of you. You did it. You made it. It's over. Wish you the best of luck in your future. Don't feel overwhelmed about the unknown and the uncertainty of what's next. It'll all work out. God's got you. Again, thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day. The quote of the day is brought to you by Pro Flowers. I remember my mother's prayers, and they have always